didn't realise you were there. Welcome to Arts Week 2025. This Arts Week, we are going to be talking about the NHS, we're going to be talking about the beach appeal, and we're going to be talking about looking after our own health, whether that's our physical health or our mental health. So I hope you're ready because we're going to get creating some phenomenal pieces of artwork. And at the end of this week, we are going to be hosting an exhibition where we are going to be selling all of our incredible pieces, hopefully back to your parents and carers. And all of the money raised will be going to the beach appeal. So let's get started. So as I said, this week we are going to be learning about the NHS and the beach appeal. And that's because we at Awesome Archie are proud fundraisers for the beach appeal, and we will go into detail about what it means. And no, it isn't the actual beach. It is an organisation called the UHD charity who look after children, and the beach appeal is actually an enormous fundraising campaign that we are supporting, and so that's why we've decided to use this for this Arts Week. So, day one. So how did the NHS get started? The National Health Service Act came into effect on the 5th of July 1948. The Act provided a comprehensive health service for England and Wales. There was a separate legislation produced for Scotland and Northern Ireland. The Act stated that it shall be the duty of the Minister of Health to promote the establishment of health service to secure improvement in the physical and mental health of all people. It should also help in the prevention and the diagnosis and treatment of illness. The Act stated that the services shall be free of charge for all, and it brought together a wide range of medical services under one organisation. This included hospitals, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, opticians and dentists, and even local voluntary hospitals were brought into the national public ownership and were organised by regional hospital boards. Family doctors had to become self-employed, and local authorities held responsibility for community services such as immunisations, maternity clinics and community nurses. Aneurin Bevan, the first Minister of Health, is credited with founding the NHS in 1948. He launched the NHS in Park Hospital in Manchester on July the 5th of that year. So what an incredible thing Aneurin Bevan did. When you think of all the times you and I have had to go into hospital, whether it's just because we've sprained our ankle or even worse, broken it, or if you have diabetes and need long-term treatment. Imagine how difficult it would be if our parents and carers had to pay for all of this treatment. Well, because of Aneurin Bevan and the policies put in place, thankfully, we don't have to. So to celebrate this, we are going to draw Aneurin Bevan. and welcome back to day 2 of Arts Week. Oh yeah, it's so exciting. I hope you've managed to wash the charcoal from your hands. Sorry teachers, I knew it was going to be a messy one, but wasn't it so worth it? Today we're going to be talking about, you've guessed it, the NHS again. But this time we're going to talk about what they actually do. The National Health Service, NHS for short, in the United Kingdom provides healthcare to all citizens based on their needs and not their ability to pay. The NHS offers a wide range of services, including primary care, so this is our doctors, our dentists, our opticians and our pharmacists, and secondary care, which includes hospital care, the NHS 111 service, the mental health service, and out of hours. But it also helps with health costs. So this includes the exemption, which means some people don't need to pay for pharmacy bills. We can get a free or reduced cost for prescriptions, and we also get a reduced cost for our dentistry. We can also have health checks like our weight checks, our height, our blood pressure, our cholesterol. Also, when you're having a baby, the NHS will cover this. This is known as maternity care. The NHS is known for its quality of care that it provides to its patients. And even though in this time where things are much harder and waiting lists are much longer, when you do see an NHS nurse, doctor, optician or dentist, they're always really kind and understanding. The NHS employs more people than any other organisation in the whole of our country. So today we're going to create something arty, inspired by what the NHS do for us. Now, if you are Key Stage 2, you will see that you have a little wooden figure. And I would like you to paint this as somebody who either works for or volunteers for the NHS. So that could be a nurse or a surgeon, a doctor or an optician, or I volunteer for the NHS. I'm doing that right now by talking about it. So I've painted myself in a quirky dress volunteering for the NHS. Any of those things are absolutely fine. If you're in Key Stage 1, I would love you to draw either a nurse or a doctor. And then as a whole school, we are each going to have a small piece of air dry clay, and out of that air dry clay I would like you to make a piece of free NHS equipment. For example, when we go to A&E, we don't have to pay for the plasters they put on or the crutches that they let us borrow. So you could always make something like that, or even maybe make a pot of pills that you have to take when you have a headache. Or, if you're really creative, a blood pressure machine. Good grief, I'm not going to try and make that, but if you're up for it, go for it. Okay, let's get arty. We've made it to day 3. Woo-hoo! And it's so exciting to be back with you for another day of wonderful art. And yes, today it's all about the beach appeal. Woo-hoo! The Beach Appeal is a fundraising mission to enable the brand new children's ward of the newly built Bournemouth Hospital to equip its wards with a classroom and a safe space to play. We've been really lucky because, as you know, Archie and I write books together, and our book is being used as part of this fundraising mission. It's been chosen to take part in their £1.5 million fundraising campaign. How much money is that? And we are asking for your help to help us raise that money. We believe that no child should miss out on an education, particularly if they're having to have long-term stays in hospital, if they are diabetic, or perhaps if they're having some form of cancer treatment. And we want to make sure that if they are staying in hospital, they get to have an education like you guys do. And we also want to make sure that they have fun. So all of the art that we are making this week is going to be sold at our exhibition, and all of that money is going to be going straight back to the Beach Appeal. So if you want to keep your art, make sure you tell your parents and carers to come and make even a small donation. It will make all the difference. We're also encouraging you to make posters so that when your parents and carers come, they can look at that little barcode and see what they need to do if they'd like to make a further donation or to simply find out more about the Beach Appeal. BEACH actually stands for Births, Emergency, Critical Care Unit and Children's Health. So it's a super duper important mission that we're on. So let's get to it. We are at day 4. I can't believe it. Day 4, almost a whole school week of hearty fun. Could life get any better? I don't think so. Today we're going to be talking all about us and how important it is that we look after our own health. And that doesn't just mean our physical health, like our body, it also means our mental health, so looking after our own minds. That sounds really complicated, doesn't it? But actually it so isn't. What can we do to help look after ourselves so that actually, yes, we probably will end up having to go to hospital at some point in our lives, we all do, but we can reduce the chances of having to go more regularly. We can eat healthy foods, like including 5 portions of fruit and vegetable every single day. We can drink lots of water, and if you're able to, you can also drink milk. This is a difficult one for me because I love cake, but you've got to try and not eat too much. You've got to try and recognise when you're full. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, that's something that I have struggled with my whole life and I'll probably struggle with forever. But as long as you're trying, that's all you can do. We need to be active and try to have fun. We need to spend time in the fresh air and not spending too much time watching telly or playing on our online games if we can help it. Although we do know, particularly for our neurodivergent friends, that playing online games is one of the easiest ways for them to actually make friendships and keep sociable in their own way. So trust your parent carers when they tell you what's right for you. And we've also got to look after our body. So we've got to make sure we're washing, making sure our hair is nice and clean, making sure we haven't got too many of those nits knocking about, because you know what they're like. And then that means as we get older, we naturally develop more personal hygiene habits that are better for ourselves and better for others. Nobody wants a stinky pit. Now, to help us remember all of the things that we need to remember, and there are a lot, somebody very clever created something called a wellness wheel. Now, a wellness wheel is something that breaks down all of the things that we need to try and remember to keep ourselves as a whole really well. It talks about the things we need to do to look after our mind and body. So maybe we need to do yoga or go for a walk. It talks about movement, upscaling that walk into a bit of a hike, or even if you're brave, go for a run. It talks about the nutrition, the things we eat and put inside our body, and the environment in which we live in. So trying to keep our spaces clean and clear. If you haven't got a very, very tidy bedroom, you might find that your mental health gets a little bit so it doesn't have to be perfect, but trying to make sure that the space you live in is a little bit clear and calm is really good for your mental health. It's about looking after relationships, always trying to be kind, of course, but walking away from those people who don't make us feel very happy. It's about personal development. For me, that means endlessly reading. I love to always be on a personal development journey, and I particularly love learning about autistic children, of course. So you can do anything. It could be learning a musical instrument, it could be designing Lego and sending it off to the Lego company to see if they would like to make it. Push yourself in a subject that you really enjoy, because actually I find that is really good for my mental health. It's about spirituality. It's about trying to have as much sleep as you can. And I know with all of the fun we're having in the day, it's so tempting to stay awake at night. But try to give yourself a jolly good night's sleep. I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night. I love it. And lastly, it's about having a good work-life balance. Now, I know the teachers in the class are going to be going, oh my goodness, what is that? Because teachers and TAs and support workers work so hard. But it's really hard to try and make a balance. But if you can, just try to make sure that every day you do your homework and you do the jobs that you need to do, but you take a moment to pause and you make sure that you're finding a little bit of time for yourself. So here is my wellness wheel. Oh, look at that. Isn't it an absolute beauty? And we are going to create our wellness wheel right now. Let's get to it. And we've also got an option to do a Frida Kahlo inspired art. Now, I know you at William Gilpin have already covered Frida Kahlo, so I'm not going to give you an enormous background lesson on her. But Frida Kahlo is actually my favourite artist, and controversially, it isn't because of the art that she created. It's because of the things that she believed in. Frida Kahlo was left bedridden and decided that that wasn't going to stop her from creating her art. She really wanted to keep going, and so she did everything she could to keep doing the things she loves, even whilst being poorly in bed. What an inspiration for our health week this week. So in my Frida Kahlo, and I will give you a tutorial, I have created me from the outside, but on the inside I have put all the things that I enjoy doing that help keep me well. Going to Disney looks after my mental health. So does walking along the beach with my daughter. I make sure I recharge my batteries and eat a healthy, nutritious diet. And I make sure I get plenty of sleep. So let's go for it. Eve and our last day of Arts Week. Oh my goodness. But fear not, we have got a brilliant exhibition being built up in the hall as we speak. And it's so exciting that your parents, carers, loved ones, neighbours, the whole community are welcome to come in and check out our phenomenal artwork. Remember, please try and get anyone you can to buy your artwork, because all of the proceeds of today's sale are going straight to the Beach Appeal. In your class, you will find an enormous colouring page. I have spent hours creating these pages and sticking them together. Oh my goodness, I wasn't grey before I started. Now look at me. Now, each class, this is about teamwork. This is about working as a community, because that's so important for our health. As a team, as a class, you are going to colour this ginormous colouring page. And by the end of this afternoon, it has got to be finished, because it is going up in our exhibition. So this is the priority. This morning, I want you to get colouring. And you can colour it however you like. If you want to go down an abstract route and turn a lemon into the colour of a cucumber, well, I don't care, go for it. But it's got to be finished so we can exhibit it this afternoon. This is also the time that you are going to put any finishing touches to the art that you've made earlier in the week. For example, if you've got your air dry clay to finish, or your nurses to finish, anything like that, now is the time to do that. I want you to make sure you're bringing all of your art to the exhibition space, where myself and hopefully one of my children is going to be helping me out. We're going to be displaying it all ready for our exhibition. And this is super important, team. I want you all to help tidy the classroom, help tidy the art spaces that you have created, because we're not only looking after your own mental health, we need to look after the mental health of our amazing teachers and TAs, because heaven knows they deserve a coffee and a bit of a break. So step in and give them a bit of a hand with tidying up. And lastly, I want to say thank you. It's now time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the phenomenal work that you have created. As always, I'm immensely grateful for the opportunity of coming into your beautiful school and helping you amazing kids create beautiful pieces of art. I hope you've learnt some stuff. I hope you've first and foremost remembered why we're doing what we're doing and how valuable you are to me individually. Thank you so much. Let's get to our last day.